Welcome. Look, if you're gearing up for a career in the modern oil and gas sector, you already know the stakes are incredibly high. It's a whole new world out there. Today, we're walking through an actionable interview playbook designed specifically for this rapidly evolving industry. Okay, let's dive into this explainer and equip you with the exact knowledge you need to absolutely stand out.
So, we've got a tight agenda today. We're breaking down 4 main pillars: acing the integrity test, navigating regulatory realities, the digital tech edge, and leading the energy transition. And I really want you to view these 4 pillars through one specific lens today, and that's the concept of protection. Because honestly, mastering these areas is really just about proving to your future employer that you know exactly how to protect their reputation, protect the environment, protect their multi-million-dollar equipment, and ultimately protect the very future of energy.
All right, let's jump straight into pillar number 1. Acing the integrity test. This is all about protecting your reputation and protecting safety.
Picture this. You're sitting in the interview chair, and you get hit with this exact question. Can you describe a time you chose integrity over convenience? You are almost guaranteed to hear some variation of this. And why? Because oil and gas projects are incredibly high value, and they are heavily regulated. Ethics are literally non-negotiable here. Your choices on the ground directly impact safety, public trust, and massive legal exposure. So the interviewer isn't just looking for a simple "yes, I'm ethical." They're actively hunting for candidates who establish clear boundaries, who deeply respect controls, and who definitely won't take dangerous shortcuts just to get the job done faster.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it gives you a bulletproof way to actually answer that question. You want to use this 3-step framework. First, explain a situation where you recognized a missing control, like, say, someone wanting to bypass standard procurement rules to rush a delivery. Second, highlight how you spoke up early and, crucially, that you used official channels to do it. And third, detail exactly how you ensured accurate documentation of the whole event. Breaking your response down like this is a game changer. It brilliantly demonstrates your professional maturity and proves you understand how corporate machinery actually operates.
And that all ties into this one fundamental principle: do the right thing when no one is watching. In practice, this means perfectly accurate reporting, completely honest timesheets, and absolutely truthful data. You've got to remember that in this sector, staying silent when something's wrong can create massive harm. If something feels off, you have to use those escalation or whistleblowing options. Avoiding conflicts of interest, like disclosing family relationships with vendors or turning down inappropriate gifts, that doesn't just protect the company, it protects you from severe legal exposure. Let's move to and see how this builds perfectly into our second pillar: navigating regulatory realities, protecting the environment and compliance.
If you're working in a complex market like Nigeria's oil and gas sector, compliance isn't just some boring back-office job. It literally shapes how every single project gets executed. Now, as an early career professional, no one expects you to be a lawyer, but you absolutely must navigate the alphabet soup of regulators. Here's your practical map. You've got the NUPRC handling the upstream sector, the NMDPRA overseeing mid and downstream, and NOSDRA coordinating national oil spill detection and response. Knowing exactly who regulates what is a fundamental expectation before you even walk into the interview room.
Let's contrast the two big ones really quickly. On the one hand, we have the NUPRC. If you're applying for a role in exploration, field development, well drilling, or daily production operations, these are the folks overseeing your work. On the other hand, the NMDPRA. If your target role is anywhere in the gas value chain, transportation, storage, or marketing petroleum products, this is your primary regulator. Understanding this distinction is huge. It allows you to accurately align your skills with the correct regulatory jurisdiction during your interview, which proves to the hiring manager that you've done your homework.
So what does this actually mean for your day-to-day job? Well, procedures and permit-to-work systems are strict. You never, ever shortcut controls. And documentation, like maintenance history or calibration records, that's not just annoying paperwork. It's a vital safety tool that literally helps a facility survive audits. Also, incident reporting is highly formalized. Even a tiny loss of containment can trigger a joint investigation visit, known as a JIV. You also have to respect environmental standards like EGASPAN, which governs industry guidelines to reduce harm. And you've got to understand that local content laws managed by the NCMDB will directly shape project execution by prioritizing local businesses. But if you take away one thing, it's that golden rule at the bottom. When in doubt, escalate it to your HSC or compliance focal points.
Moving right along to Section 3, the digital tech edge. This one is all about protecting the equipment and driving efficiency.
Here's a reality check. Modern oil and gas is just as much a technology business as it is an energy business. Companies are relying heavily on sensors, automation, and advanced analytics. Just take predictive maintenance, for example. This means using data to anticipate equipment failure way before it actually causes downtime. And this brilliantly illustrates how the whole industry is shifting. If you're a candidate who can combine traditional engineering or domain knowledge with the digital skills needed to achieve predictive maintenance, you have a massive competitive advantage over everyone else in the waiting room. Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Imagine a critical, high-pressure pump on an offshore facility. Literally by the second, sensors are collecting live data on its vibration and temperature. By the minute, analytics models process all that data, they spot a tiny anomaly and predict a potential failure. Within the hour, a targeted maintenance crew is deployed to that exact pump. And by the end of the day, a major unplanned shutdown or worse, a catastrophic safety incident is entirely prevented. I mean, that is the raw power of the digital edge in action.
Operators today are pushing incredibly hard to stabilize output and reduce flaring, which means they desperately need people who can handle data. We're talking tools like Excel, Power BI, Python, GIS, AutoCAD, and CMMS. That's computerized maintenance management systems. You don't need to be an expert coder, but if you have any small projects, maybe a university assignment, a quick certification, anything that proves you can work with production dashboards, inspection records, or emissions data, you absolutely need to highlight that in your interview.
Okay, which brings us to our final pillar today. Section 4, leading the energy transition. This is all about protecting the future.
I know a lot of graduates have this anxiety that oil and gas is a dying industry with no future. But the reality is way more nuanced than that. The global demand for reliable energy is still there, but the systems we use to deliver it are rapidly changing. Take Nigeria's transition path, for instance. It's not about an abrupt, overnight end to the industry. Instead, it's heavily focused on 3 strategic areas. Slice 1 is operational excellence, meaning rigorously reducing leaks, cutting energy waste, and stopping flaring. Slice 2 is gas development, which enables cleaner power generation compared to traditional higher-emission fuels. And Slice 3 is carbon management, which requires incredibly strict measurement and reporting. Make no mistake, this is exactly where the jobs of the future are hiding.
So the crucial point is this: you absolutely do not have to ignore the energy transition to build a long, successful career in this sector. You can enter this industry today with very clear, strong values. You can actively work to protect people, you can reduce environmental harm, you can improve transparency, and you can help deliver energy responsibly while the world figures out this massive transformation. Your cross-sector skills in things like safety, project management, and digital reliability, those are the exact tools needed to push cleaner fuels and process efficiency forward. Let's wrap this up with one final, pretty provocative question for you to really chew on before you head into your next interview. How does your discipline contribute to lower emissions and safer operations? Whether you're an engineer, a data analyst, or working in the supply chain, you have to have a solid answer to this. Because when you can clearly articulate how your specific day-to-day role makes the entire industry safer and cleaner, you instantly move from being just another applicant in a stack of resumes to becoming an indispensable part of the future of energy. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. You've got this, and good luck out there.
Welcome to this explainer. You know, the Nigerian oil and gas sector, it can honestly feel like this totally impenetrable fortress when you're a fresh graduate. But going through the source material today, it turns out it actually operates on some highly predictable systems. So we're going to unpack this step-by-step blueprint designed to literally get your foot in the door.
Okay, here's our agenda for today. 1. Mapping your entry route. 2. Essential skills and certifications. 3. Mastering CVs and interviews. 4. Building trust and reliability. And 5. Thriving in the ecosystem. Let's jump right in.
Phase 1, mapping your entry route. For a ton of graduates, the journey actually kicks off right here. The blueprint is super clear on this. You absolutely cannot look at your SIWS or your NYSE placement as just some annoying government box to check. No way. This is your frontline entry point. These placements are very often your first real platform for building actual industry credibility. I mean, this is where you're getting direct exposure to major operators, service companies, or even big regulators like the UNPRC or NMDPRA. The winning strategy? Treat these placements like one giant extended job interview. Now, when you're hunting for those placements or your first graduate role, you've got to be strategic. And the magic number here is 30. Seriously, stop shooting in the dark and panic applying. The strategy dictates that you need to build a targeted spreadsheet of exactly 30 focused organizations. We're talking indigenous producers, international operators, drilling service companies, fabrication yards, downstream logistics, the whole shebang. Having this target list lets you systematically network, ask for informational interviews, and really track your applications like a true project manager. Phase 2. Essential skills and certifications. You might be thinking you need like a decade of crazy specialized experience to get noticed, right? Well, actually, scratch that. The data shows employers really just want targeted foundational competencies. Look at this core toolkit. Introductory petroleum primers, those help you grasp the whole value chain. Basic process safety concepts, completely non-negotiable. Safety is literally the primary language of the energy sector. You'll also want to get a grip on project management fundamentals like scheduling and cost control, and, crucially, data skills. In fact, being able to whip up a solid Excel dashboard will often make you way more immediately useful to an engineering team than all the complex theoretical knowledge in the world. But here's the real secret we found in the source material. It is all about translation. Think about some basic university project you did. To an employer, that just sounds like, well, schoolwork. But if you take that exact same project and frame it using industry standard language, suddenly talking about the scope of the research, the budget constraints, how you handled stakeholders in your group, your schedule, and the final deliverables, boom, you instantly sound like a professional. You're proving you've got a safety, quality, and management mindset before you even step foot on a rig. Phase 3, mastering CVs and interviews. Right, so hiring managers want proof of outcomes. They do not want your autobiography. The text makes it clear your CV has to be a precise marketing document. Drop the vague lists of responsibilities. You want to use really strong action verbs, words like analyzed, reduced, built, or coordinated. And, this is absolutely crucial, attach strict metrics to them. Did you save time? Did you boost accuracy by, say, 15%? Showing the exact numerical impact of what you did proves you're relentlessly results-driven.
Okay, so that CV gets you into the interview room. Next up, behavioral questions. The industry loves testing for learning agility, teamwork, and discipline. And they do it using the STAR method. You've got to master this framework. Describe the situation, explain the task or challenge, detail the specific action you took, and then share the result, and definitely include what you learned. The framework highly recommends drafting 6 to 8 of these STAR stories right now. Having them loaded and ready, that completely transforms interview anxiety into absolute confidence, whether they're grilling you about teamwork or how you bounced back from a failure.
So you got the job. Awesome. You've signed the contract, you've got the hard hat, but getting the job is really only half the battle. Surviving and actually thriving in those high-pressure first 24 months, that is the next massive hurdle. So how do you actually become reliable? Phase 4, building trust and reliability. In an industry where a mistake can cost millions of dollars, or, much worse, cost lives, trust is hands down your most valuable currency. And building that trust means you have to actively manage your manager. Check out this contrast. A super common rookie mistake is just dumping a tangled mess of problems onto a stressed out manager's desk and expecting them to fix it. But a trusted professional? They bring the puzzle pieces already halfway put together. Even if you don't know the exact right answer, you present the problem along with 2 or 3 potential solutions. You manage expectations, summarize decisions, and give proactive updates before anyone even has to ask. Now, what's really interesting here is this vital reminder about humility. As a fresh grad, sure, you might have the fancy degree, but the technicians, the mechanics, the operators out there on the front line, they are the ones actually keeping the chaotic realities of a rig or plant running smoothly. They hold this deep, incredibly practical knowledge that textbooks just completely miss. If you want to truly understand how an asset operates, you have to humble yourself. Treat the frontline workers with immense respect, ask great questions, and just soak up everything you can from their years of hands-on experience. Phase 5, thriving in the ecosystem. And this leads us to a really incredible career strategy that popped up in the data. Look, not every graduate's going to, or frankly should, work for a major operator. The oil and gas industry is vastly larger than just those big names. In fact, some of the absolute biggest, most lucrative careers are built out in the service and entrepreneurship ecosystem. Check out these niches: non-destructive testing support, valve maintenance, calibration, spares planning. These companies solve highly focused problems. If you spend 12 months just deeply mastering one of these specific niches, you make yourself completely indispensable to the operators who outsource all that critical work. And if you do go down that service or entrepreneurial route, there is one golden rule. Quality is your marketing. You are not going to win repeat contracts in oil and gas with some slick ad campaign. No way. You win them with a zero-compromise safety record and flawless execution. Having impeccable documentation and incredible repeatability in your performance, that is always, always your absolute best sales pitch. All right, to wrap things up, the Blueprint hands us an immediate, actionable 30-day checklist to kickstart everything. Number 1, pick your target segment, upstream, midstream, downstream, or services. 2, build that spreadsheet of 30 target organizations and meticulously track those applications. 3, polish just one portfolio item like a design or project summary and translate it into industry language. 4, reach out and have respectful, informational chats with 10 industry professionals. And 5, draft those 6-star stories so you are 100% ready for an interview tomorrow. The Blueprint is literally right here in front of you. Consistent effort using these exact structured steps is going to do way more than just land you a job. It's going to build your entire professional reputation. So I want to leave you with this one thought to reflect on today. What specific, highly focused niche service are you going to commit to learning deeply over the next 12 months? Decide on that, and your career in oil and gas truly begins.
Welcome to the quiz section, fastest finger edition.